There are stories in the Bible that are told in whispers, stories that don't shout with miracles or battles, but instead echo in silence. This is one of them, the story of Bathsheba, a woman whose voice was taken, but whose legacy still speaks through generations. It began on an ordinary evening in Jerusalem. The air was cool, the city was quiet, and Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, a soldier at war, went to bathe as the sun went down. She was a woman of grace, unaware that her quiet act would draw the gaze of a king. From his palace rooftop, King David saw her, and in that moment, desire clouded his wisdom. He sent for her, and when a king calls, no one refuses. That day changed everything. Bathsheba's life would never be the same. Her husband Uriah, loyal and honorable, was sent to the front lines and never returned. David took Bathsheba as his wife. Soon, she bore him a son, with a child. Did not survive. Loss after loss. Her silence grew deeper, her heart heavier, and through it all, the Bible never records Bathsheba's words, not one. Why was she silent? Was it fear, grief, or the wisdom of a woman who had seen the cost of speaking too soon? Sometimes silence is not weakness, it's survival. When power is against you, and pain fills your home, silence can be a kind of prayer. Bathsheba didn't fight with words. She endured with faith. But the story does not end in her pain, because God does not forget the silent. From her grief, he brought forth redemption. Bathsheba gave birth to another son, Solomon, and through Solomon, her name was restored to her, life redeemed. God took the woman broken by others' choices and made her the mother of Israel's wisest king. There are lessons buried in Bathsheba's quiet journey. First, your silence is not your end. Sometimes God does his deepest work when your voice feels lost. Second, your pain does not disqualify you. Bathsheba's story began in tragedy, yet God chose her to carry wisdom into the next generation. Third, your story can still be rewritten. Through grace, shame was turned into strength, and sorrow into legacy. And finally, your silence can become someone else's song. Bathsheba never spoke in the Bible, but her life still teaches courage, patience, and faith that endures. Maybe you, too, have moments when you can't find your words, when you've been hurt by choices you didn't make, when your truth was ignored or your heart misunderstood. Remember Bathsheba. Her silence did not mean absence. It meant trust that God was still moving, even in the quiet, because sometimes the silence of a faithful heart speaks louder than 1,000 cries. Generations later, in the Gospel of Matthew, her name appears again quietly, but powerfully in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. The woman once forgotten became part of the lineage of salvation itself. That's how God writes stories. He takes what the world overlooks, he heals what the world breaks, and he gives voice to those the world silenced. Bathsheba's silence wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning of redemption. So when you walk through a season where your voice feels gone, when you've been broken by others' choices, hold on to hope, because God is still writing. And one day, your silence may become the loudest testimony of his grace. Even when the world doesn't hear, your God still does. Thank you for joining me for this story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more reflections. Peace be with you.